Hello everyone and welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Dylan Simmons alongside Ryan Martinovich and Mr. Matt Hayden. We're coming to you live from the MTN Sports Den once again, and it's time for our own version of Thursday Night Thunder. Let's kick it off with Matt Hayden with this week's Around the CUSA. Matt, take it away.
Alrighty guys, with a lot of teams on byes this week, the quantity of games may be low, but the games on schedule are still full of energy and action. We got 100 miles of hate in one night, and then a nightly showdown in El Paso. Let's jump right into them around the CUSA. Another week has come and gone for college football, and with that brings us more games to look ahead. We got a light schedule for CUSA as we see 3 total games today, but all of them are in conference showdowns. First up is a Thursday night light special of another installment of the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry. MTSU goes up to Bowling Green to take on WKU. Both teams are coming off crushing losses last week, so both are eager to come out swinging. The big question here is, what defense will make stops first, as WKU has averaged almost 500 yards given up and MT nearly 400. But these offenses have the potential to light the scoreboard up, with senior quarterback Austin Reed slinging it for Western, and then we also have Nicholas Fadiato for the MTSU Blue Raiders, who have nearly identical stats in yards, touchdowns, and completions. So it's going to be a lot of action-packed. It's just going to see who's going to be able to get that first stop, who's going to be able to, turn the ball over, play that possession game, and see who can lead their team to a big victory, because this is a huge, huge game for both of these rivals. And it's one that we got to really look forward to, especially tonight. But on the other hand, for Saturday, we have a showdown down in El Paso. We have the UTEP Miners, hosting the LA Tech Bulldogs. Both teams have struggled as late, and they look to turn the tides here. This game is a dead even pick. It's a coin flip, so it could be anyone's game. A huge momentum change could happen depending on Hank Bachmeier. With his shoulder injury still lingering, we could see a different quarterback for the Bulldogs. So it could be a coin flip game there. So it's either UTEP's defense could take over with a backup quarterback, or if the Bulldogs offense still powerful enough to power through against the UTEP Miners. A big key on the defense though, Tyrese Knight leads the nation in all tackles, so it's going to be a huge game for him. So another game to look forward to on the Saturdays, and with the big offensive questions up in the air.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's going to be interesting to see how all that's going to work out. We've reached the long stretch of conference play, guys. So this is where, as you said before, the rubber meets the road and teams will break it out with padding in their conference record. We're going to see how all that's going to work out. But for now, let's go ahead and look into some conference matchups that we have for CUSA this week. Well, guys, we are getting some conference cheesecake to chow down on finally this weekend. To get inside info on that team in Bowling Green, here is our man Ethan Odom with this week's scoop.
WKU Herald. Jake, let's start out by pointing out your explosive offense this season, who had plenty of non-conference games. Your team just previously, yesterday, played against one of college football's most prestigious football programs, located in the Sun Belt Conference. But your quarterback, Austin Reed, still continued to lay out some impressive throws, connecting through his top receiving core for 2 touchdowns and 275 yards against a solid Troy Trojan defense.
Sure.
So can you walk us through that and how he was able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's just our identity, really, and it has been, for the past couple of years with Helton. They had Zappy, who's now with the Patriots, and then Reed last year. I know he was a top 10 quarterback statistically in the nation last year. So that's really been our identity offensively, is get the ball to Austin Reed, let him throw it, and try to find Malachi Corley. You're done with non-conference, and you're heading into CUSA play where you were heavily favored.
Yeah.
To win this conference, and hopefully run through this conference. I'm expecting to bounce that game from Western.
So, what does 100 miles of hate mean to you and your program?
It means a lot because we were kind of left out of a big in-state rivalry. So to get something like that with you guys is huge.
Thank you, Jake, for being here with us today. Now back to you guys.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move.
Thanks, Ethan. When we come back, we review this past week's Blue Raider action, plus we shine a light on an MTSU soccer player. That's coming up next on Blue Raider Extra Point.
So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
We are back here with Blue Raider Extra Point, and right now we're going to send it to Dylan Simmons for our Big Blue Review.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ryan. For this week's Big Blue Review, we have the volleyball team looking for an oasis in the desert, and the soccer team plunging into CUSA play. Let's get right into it right now. The volleyball team went down to Las Cruces, New Mexico for their first Conference USA matches of the year. Middle faced off against the New Mexico State Aggies for the first time as CUSA opponents, and the first match on Friday saw the Aggies sweep aside the Raiders in quick fashion as Mary Sharp was sharper than King Arthur's sword with 11 kills. Deja Smith did everything she could to keep the Raiders within striking distance, with 8 electrifying kills of her own to lead Middle. It still could not stop the Aggies from firing more than a pirate ship cannon as they won in a sweep in 3 straight sets. Game 2, though, different story, as the Raiders were able to keep consistent pace with New Mexico State in a 5-set smackdown. Middle took the first set by force and were able to even up set 4 after dropping 2 straight to the Aggies. Kaylee Oscarsson led the team in kills with 12 total in the match and was assisted by Taylor Isert, who had 40 assists in this game to break the all-time school record. Still, it was not enough to beat the Aggies as the team from Las Cruces fought back to win the 5th set and take the series sweep. Volleyball's next challenge will be against Liberty this weekend for their first home matches of the season. Soccer fought back against New Mexico State as well this past Sunday. The team faced off against the Aggies while searching for their first conference win of the season. The game started off faster than Tyreek Hill for the Aggies as they connected on a 37th minute goal, but the Raiders would respond. Sasha Nielsen netted a set-piece goal for her own on a corner kick to even the score at 1. And the Raiders would respond again to a deficit thanks to a Jessica Oliveira's 47th minute goal to tie it to a piece. Despite that and Hannah Suter's 6 saves, however, it was still not enough as the Aggies tallied one more goal in the second half to come away with a 3-2 victory at home. Middle next plays the Chicago State Cougars at home tomorrow night on ESPN+. It's cool to see both these teams playing in a new environment, guys, against new opponents. Very awesome to see how all that worked out, and I'm curious to see how both of these teams will do in the future. Definitely a fun matchup, whatever sport you're looking at.
Yeah, and volleyball, of course, got the weekend with Liberty tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big matchup there. But now we have, for this week's Blue Raiders Spotlight, we hear from Jessica Oliveras from the MTSU soccer team. Here's Jackson Bell with the story.
Jessica Oliveras. I'm a defender, sophomore, and I'm from Sunrise, Florida.
How's the season been so far, and what are you excited for as we move into the regular season?
So far, the season's been great.
Obviously, you're a sophomore now. What's it like to be kind of a role model for this incoming freshman class?
It's a little scary sometimes because you have to always make sure that you're kind of setting a great example, but it's also, we're all kind of best friends, so you don't have to always be perfect all the time.
What would you say to a prospective student athlete who's thinking about doing the nursing program and playing a sport?
I would say it's possible. It is very uncommon, but it is, and there are going to be people who are going to tell you, it's so hard, I don't know how you're going to do it while you're in season, but it's possible. It's just it may overwhelm you at times, but if you really want to, you'll be able to do it.
Segue kind of into what are some of your role models?
Oh, definitely my mom. She immigrated here from Colombia, and it's always been difficult, like, for her growing up, first learning the language and then trying to, make a living. I also have my older sister as well, so it was just two of us.
What are some hobbies outside?
Some hobbies outside. So right now, a few of my teammates and I, we've kind of got this new hobby of playing Fortnite. Yeah, we play at least like 2 hours a day, but it's not like at.
Thanks, Jackson. Some interesting team bonding there, as we heard at the end of playing Fortnite. Are you guys any big gamers yourselves?
I was more of a Call of Duty guy growing up. That's about it. But I'm waiting for that new NCAA football game to come out.
I am too.
What about like Pokemon, man? Pokemon was always a fun game for me. That's one of my favorites. But hey, can't forget about FIFA for these soccer players. So that was pretty awesome to see, guys, with that Blue Raider Spotlight. Thank you, Jackson, for that. We're going to move on to our next bit of stuff right here as we'll keep on going. Obviously, Blue Extra Point has been very good today, and we're going to keep up all of the action as we will get ready for our next segment, as that was an awesome package. Great stuff and a great story from him. All right, we got to take another quick TV timeout. When we return, Ryan will let us know what drives the WKU team forward, and we will have our keys to success in Bowling Green. We will be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Welcome back to Blue Raider Next Extra Point. We now send it over to our man Ryan Martinelich, as he will have our scouting report for this week. Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, guys. So, of course, the Hilltoppers will be looking to rebound at home tonight. Yeah, being on the road right now the last 2 weeks, falling to Ohio State and Troy, they are definitely going to look to rebound tonight here against MTSU. So a big thing right now is their offensive philosophy. You know, they are a heavy air raid team, right? Austin Reed leads the CUSA in passing yards per game with 284 yards per game. Malachi Corley has been an absolute unit for this team, averaging over 100 yards per game, along with the freshman Eason Messer. Both those guys have 2 touchdowns on the season. As you can see right there, Malachi getting that reception there for about 20 yards. Corley, of course, like I said, Eason Messer combined for over 200 yards against Troy last week in the loss. Another touchdown pass, right? I'm sorry, over the middle touchdown. Oh my gosh, I'm slinging my words right here. But as you can see, him and Malachi Corley, Austin Reed, of course, have a dynamic duo with them. They go back last year when Corley was leading receiver with 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns receptions as well. However, on the other side of the ball, Western Kentucky hasn't had the most reliable defense of late this season. Although they are second in the league in sacks with 12, led by junior defensive back Kendrick Simpson with 3.5. That pressure hasn't been enough for this team as they are at the bottom of every defensive category in CUSA. They give up almost 500 yards of offense per game, with 270 yards of that coming from the air. So, you know, they have trouble in practice going against their own offensive unit. The Blue Raiders share that Hilltopper air raid identity as well, so the Western Kentucky will have to find a way to fill in that gaps in the defensive backfield if they want to slow MTSU down at all. However, the Blue Raiders have allowed 10 sacks on the season, so if Jox Evans, a junior linebacker from last year who led the team in tackles and sacks last year, along with Sampson, can get back there against Nick Vadiato, like last year when they sacked Chase Cunningham 7 times here in Murfreesboro, they're going to do a great job of shutting down this Blue Raider offense, guys. It's going to be the difference if they can put any pressure on this offense.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that. Certainly it's going to be interesting to see how Middle Tennessee is able to generate that pressure that you've spoken so highly of. Going to be a very, very fun matchup. So thank you, Mr. Ryan, for that one. All right, Matt, you heard what Western is all about. What keys does Middle need to unlock the door to victory?
So like we've been saying, you know, this air raid offense has been very key, but it's also defense, attacking the ball on defense, creating turnovers. That means fumbles and picks as well. You don't have to be ball hawks. You know, we've seen a very sloppy play from Western Kentucky. They've been fumbling the ball a lot, and it's been a huge, huge problem for them. And then another one is letting these receivers eat. I mean, we got to spread the wealth, you know, with Willis on the ends, and then you have Metcalf as well. So you have to let them, you know, let them eat, but also play the time game. Hold that ball. Limit the offensive time for WKU, especially Austin Reed, and like we were talking about Malachi, him and that correlation is deadly. So if he can hold them on the sidelines and keep that defense out there and get them really tired, it could be a huge, huge factor for them. So back to the analyst specialist, what's your key success for the game?
Obviously, we've got to prevent the Hilltopper pressure. As we mentioned, 12 sacks on the season so far for the Hilltoppers. If they put anything on Vadiato, the Blue Raiders are never going to be able to move the ball. So they got to find a way, that offensive line, to fill in those gaps. Second thing is air traffic control. Okay, both teams are going to be airing the ball out. I mean, probably a combined 80, 90 passing attempts between the two teams right now. So finding a way to slow down Austin Reed, Malachi Corley, Eason Messer in that air raid offense is going to pay dividends for the Blue Raiders. And then just keep drives alive. I mean, we saw MTSU have 3 to 4 3-and-outs against Colorado State. Of course, most of those coming in the second half. So they got to find a way to keep these drives alive and put any kind of pressure on the Hilltoppers on the road as a 7-point underdog. So that's going to be right there the biggest difference.
All right, like that. All right, so I'm going to make mine really, really quick here. Read like a book. So Austin Reed, arguably the best quarterback in CUSA, already 1,000 passing yards on the year. But the Ohio State Buckeyes had a Buckeye blueprint that Middle Tennessee can use to take him out, make the Toppers one-dimensional. Second, cradle the ball. We need to see Jaden Credle use that football, run with it all that he can, really use that rushing attack to your advantage. And third, 100 miles of hate. This is one simple, guys. This is one of the biggest rivalries in CUSA, probably the biggest for Middle Tennessee. They need to play with passion and emotion and use that to their advantage to get this victory. That is going to be the key to, I think, in the main part, getting a victory in this game. So we'll see how all that works. We're going to go take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our picks. Don't go anywhere here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back. It's now time for our picks of the week here on Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's get right into it with our man Matt Hayden. Jacksonville State 3-1 taking on Sam Houston 0-3.
Sam Houston's defense has been really good, but I just think their offense stands no chance. We've seen Jacksonville State be a huge team coming quick into this conference. Give me Jacksonville State.
I'm kind of the same thing with Matt here. We've seen that Sam Houston has struggled to score on offense. They had a backup quarterback last week. They're probably going to go to Guntrill today. I do like Jacksonville State's running back, Malik Jackson. He leads the CUSA in rushing yards. Give me Jacksonville State on the road.
I'm going to have to say Jacksonville State just from what I'm hearing right now.
Jacksonville State, gotcha. All right, so I'm going to say with this one, with Jacksonville State and Sam Houston, Jacksonville State has been really darn good over these past few weeks. One of the shockers in the conference, and I think this is a team that, 231 rushing yards per game already. They left Eastern Michigan greener than St. Patrick's Day with all that rushing ability that they had in their last game. And Sam Houston, they have 10 total points on the season, guys. They're currently racing against the Iowa Hawkeyes to see who can get more points the quickest because neither one of them can really find that offensive tune. They got to fix this offense quickly, and I think that's what we need to see. I think Jacksonville State is going to get the job done, though. 33-6 is my final score prediction. Next up, Louisiana Tech takes on UTEP.
Again, another game that I feel like, UTEP's defense has been very solid, and a big question is Hank Bachmeier going to play? But I still think LA Tech and the Bulldogs still have enough offensive power to overpower the Miners, so give me the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Hardison at quarterback for UTEP has struggled with managing to make his reads and progressions. He's throwing too many interceptions this season. And, Jack Turner did a tremendous job coming in against Nebraska as a backup for the Bulldogs on the road. They never got that done. I do like if they have to go on the road to UTEP with Turner, without Bachmeier, I think the backup sophomore quarterback gets it done. I like the Bulldogs on the road.
I'm going to have to say UTEP just for home advantage.
Yeah, you and I talked a little bit about this before with how Middle Tennessee played UTEP last year and beat UTEP in that venue. Now, for me, this is a toss-up game in CUSA. I think Louisiana Tech needs Hank Bachmeier back. Him coming back, I think, will help them realize some more of that full potential we've been talking about. Without him against Nebraska, they didn't really have the same bite that they had beforehand. Now, he already has 756 yards and 5 touchdowns, in 3 games. And when you look at the defense as well, that they're like a Charizard using a flamethrower, 361 yards. And UTEP, they need to cool it on the turnovers because it's costing the team in crucial situations time and time again. Gavin Hardison already has 7 interceptions this year. That is not going to fly. Granted, he does have 947 passing yards, but he's becoming the college version of Jameis Winston, and that's got to be fixed rather quickly. I think in this one it's going to be a shootout in the Sun Bowl. I think, though, UTEP is going to get the job done. Give me the Miners in an upset. 48-44, UTEP gets the victory. All right, here we go, guys. The grand finale, the pick we've all been waiting for. Western Kentucky, 2-2 versus Middle Tennessee, 1-3 in Bowling Green. Matt, it's up to you.
100 Miles Ahead is prime, and I think Nicholas Fadiato's game is very underrated. I think he doesn't get the appreciation that Austin Reed does. We just saw their stats are basically side by side, and I think MT has a better defense here. I'm going True Blue. Give me the Blue Raiders.
It's very tough in a rivalry game to win on the road. Western Kentucky hasn't looked as great as they have in the past. Austin Reed has certainly struggled, but he's still leading the league in passing yards. 9 touchdowns and only 1 interception. That tandem he has with Malachi Corley going all the way back to last year, I think, is going to improve. You mentioned the stats between Reed and Vadiato. the similar stats are two different quarterbacks. One likes to throw down the field more, one goes more side to side. With a lot of screens, dump offs. It's very different. Vadiato has struggled to make reads in the open field. I do like the Western Kentucky defense putting a little pressure on Vadiato. If they're not going to get any kind of ground game with Credle, I think Western Kentucky is the clear favorite. Once again, 7-point favorites at home. I will say this, if you were better, I would probably take the over. It's 60 points right now. I do expect a shootout, but I still like Western Kentucky.
Wow.
I might be a little biased, but personally, I'm going for the Blue Raiders.
Give me some, girl.
I know.
I like it. Yes, ma'am.
I feel like they have something to prove from last year's game, and I think today's game is the game they're going to prove that.
I think I agree 100% with you guys. The 100 Miles of Hate, this is a tradition and a rivalry that goes back to 1914 when these two teams first met, going over the 100 miles, fighting for it between Murfreesboro and Bowling Green. Now here we are in 2023 looking to settle this in the 73rd edition of this rivalry. For Western Kentucky, they have Austin Reed, who led the nation last year in passing yards. He already has over 1,000 yards this year. And they have Malachi Corley, 21 receptions, 250 receiving yards. And right now, the rivalry is 36-35 in one Western, but by gosh, tonight, Middle Tennessee is going to find a way to tie it up. I think Nick Vadiato getting better every single game. Sam Brumfield, Trey Fluellen, the anchors of that defense, pushing them forward to greatness. And I think we're going to see as well Jaden Credle rather, with an awesome performance, absolutely running past that Hilltoppers defense. Middle Tennessee is going to find a way to win because, like Lysol wipes, Middle Tennessee is going to clean out the competition tonight. The Raiders get the victory, 30-24 in Bowling Green. The Raiders get the job done, and I think that is all there is to it. And there you go. There's your look at the wipes. So before we head out, though, I do want to introduce our guest picker here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Cara Sloshy, and I'm on the women's tennis team here.
You're on the women's tennis team, as you mentioned. Guys are getting ready for an awesome season. So I do have a quick question for you. Talk about some of that preparation. How are things going, and what are you guys looking ahead to so far?
I think this year we have a really great team. Everyone's just super skilled, and we have so many transfers, so people have already have experience. So I think just getting the team close and getting ready for the season is just really exciting.
I think that's going to be a huge factor of it. It was really cool to watch you guys last year and see how you were able to progress and just get better and better with each game. Do you guys have any questions for our guest here before we go?
Yeah, I mean, getting ready in season, first off, what's your favorite food? I know you're probably on a specific diet trying to train, but what's your guilty pleasure that you might escape on a Saturday or Sunday?
See, okay, my favorite food isn't necessarily unhealthy though.
Okay.
Because I love sushi.
Okay,
personally.
that's fair. That's fair.
But I love chocolate.
Sure.
And that is definitely something that I will do during the weekends and maybe during the week, but don't tell my coach, please.
I'm a Milano cookie guy. That's my thing.
That's perfect combination. Yeah.
Milano cookies, gotcha. Well, it's certainly going to be awesome to see you and your team perform this season. Looking forward to it in January of 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. And Matt, I think it's time to wrap this thing up, don't you say?
Absolutely. But before we go, I want to tell everyone to make sure to follow us on all social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I know it's called X, but it's Twitter still to me. And Facebook. And check it out on our YouTube channel. We'll be right here for our halftime show. Go on, head on over, get ready to watch the game, watch 100 Miles of Hate, and we will see you next time.
So guys, what do you think of tonight? And what do you think?
I already told you. First off, they're not even Lysol, bud. You couldn't actually pay for them. I think these are from the upstairs storage closet.
They're actually from down here. I got them before the show started, and I thought, hey, we're going to clean out the competition tonight.
Yeah.
Might as well have a visual demonstration.
It's a Raider Trader.
But I mean,
a Raider Trader, is that what Ryan is?
Yeah.
Raider Trader.
I
like what she just came up. I like what she came up with for you. She called you a Raider.
I'm a realist. I'm sorry. That's
Raider Trader. He doesn't have the real blue in him.
I'm from Knoxville.
That makes sense. He's bleeding orange.
He does bleed orange, but he's a fan.
Red is too close to orange.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.